Good morning, everyone. We want to welcome you today to our Buffalo Water Board meeting. Today is November 20th. The time is now 9:02 a.m. We'll be getting started with our meeting. Before we do, just want to have a couple of housekeeping items, so I'll turn it over to Connor just to make sure that we are all on the same page. Connor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. This is Connor Vanahy with GHD. I'd like to wish a warm welcome to everybody joining us for today's meeting. It's nice to see everybody remotely and in person today. As a reminder, this meeting will be recorded. And to start things off, I'd like to introduce a couple of housekeeping measures. So to reduce the amount of background noise, we kindly ask you to stay muted until you're ready to speak. And at the time you're ready to speak, please state your name and affiliation for the record. At this time, I'll begin taking the roll call, starting with the board members. After I say your name, please state here or present. So I'd like to start with Chairman McFoy,
Present.
William Sunderland,
Present.
Gerald Kelly,
Present.
and Ray Nosworthy.
Present.
Thank you, board. I'll now move on to the regular attendees. Peter Marlowe,
Present.
Jack McMahon, I
See
see
Jack. I don't know if he didn't come off mute.
Okay, for now we'll move on. Fawad Arab,
Present.
Charlie Martirana,
Present.
Damon Sykes,
Present.
David Hill,
Present.
Doug Foltz,
Present.
Kelly Lee,
Present.
Bill Ferguson,
Present.
Lisa Foti,
Present.
Stephen Waldvogel,
Present.
Dustin Steiner,
Present.
Matthew Adam,
Present.
Damon Rand, and Christine Wingo.
Present.
It looks like we also have a 716-851 number. If you could please state your name and affiliation for the record.
That's Jack. I was here and I took myself off mute, but I was muted by the phone. I had to do a *6. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, my bad, Jack. Is there anybody that I missed, either at Porter or on the line?
Patrick Thornton. Public
Thank you.
Finance Superintendent.
Oh, okay. I think that's all that we have in attendance here today. So I'd like to pass it back to you, Chairman McFoy.
All right, thank you very much, Connor. Board, we will now move forward with our agenda. If you would review the agenda, make sure that it is complete in its nature, if there are any additions and subtractions. Also at this time, if there's anyone from the public who would like to be heard, we do provide ample public comment period, and we would love to have you here. We don't see anyone in the room, but if there's anyone in our hybrid format that would like to speak, please raise your hand in the chat and or come off mute, and we'll allocate a specific time for you. So board, if you would, please review the agenda. Any additions?
One addition, number 9, executive session.
All right, there's a recommendation to have number 9 as executive session to discuss litigation matters. All right, is there anything else? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as so presented and amended at this meeting?
Sunderland, so moved.
Nosworthy, second. The motion properly seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Sunderland, aye.
Nosworthy, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Unanimous. All right, board, we'll move on to item number 2, approval of the minutes from the meeting of October 23rd, 2024. Board, if you would, please take this opportunity to review the minutes for completeness. These were previously sent out and available online. All right, how's it going?
Sunderland, motion to approve.
Nosworthy, second.
It has been motioned and properly seconded that we approve the minutes as presented. Hearing none, all in favor?
Sunderland, aye.
Nosworthy, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll now move into our next item on the agenda, which is our public comment period. Again, if there's anyone from the public who would like to speak at this time, we want to make sure that the board hears from you, and that we provide sufficient time for you to speak. So if you could take yourself off of mute and or just speak up in the chat, we'll make sure to get you some time here. All right, hearing none, we will move on now to item number 4, which is a staffing update. We'll turn that over to Mr. Merlo.
Thank you, Chairman. Peter Merlo, Secretary to the Board, Principal Engineer for the Division of Water. Before I turn it over to Doug, one thing that I was made aware of, and it was nice to see, is I believe we have a full complement of AFPOs now. So that is a wonderful thing. We are now working to obviously get them trained into our system, but also get them licensed with New York State as soon as possible, and obviously to complement with our staffing requirements. So we're working internally now to kind of put that schedule together. We've actually been informed there's 2 classes that we believe this year. I also have John McGarrigle contact. If we need to bring him to our facility, that's something we can do as well. So I think we have everything kind of, it's really a lot of good news. So thank you to everyone, City Hall staff, the Commissioner's Office, Louise and Kellyanne. So Doug, again, I don't mean to steal your thunder, but I always like to do
No,
that.
that's okay. We'll have Mr. Foltz cover them. What's the number?
Currently, we're at 67% of target, which is good. So the needle's definitely moving in the right direction.
Number.
I think we're at 86. This is a little bit lagging, so I think we're at 86 positions filled.
Thanks. Go ahead.
No, Doug Foltz, Veolia Operations. I echo Peter's comments. Yeah, we're moving in the right direction. So staffing the AFPO position is a big deal. That is our feeder stream for licensed filter plant operators. So as soon as they meet the New York State requirements and they pass the testing and everyone's comfortable from an operations standpoint, we will get them up to licensed operating positions.
Excellent. All right, anything else? All right, guys, thank you very much for that report. And I know we are someone has graced our presence. I don't know if we want to hear from him, Pat. It's good to have you in here.
I'm watching the veterans go at it.
Well, it's good to have you.
Thank you, sir.
It really is good to have you. Right there.
Thank you.
That's doing great. He's really helped integrating staff with our contractors, with everybody. He brings a smile every day. Much appreciated what he does for us. So thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Stewart, it's good to have you at the airport.
Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to item number 5, flood mitigation project, gate fence improvement. Mr. Merlo.
Yes, Peter Merlo, Secretary to the Board, Principal Engineer for the Division of Water. This is for the flood mitigation project, which primarily is twofold. Was to install flood protection, and as you can see, they have the new berm out there. We have the concrete barrier protection on the outside. We have the new fence up primarily over about 90% of our facility. If you want to take a walk, it looks great. It really complements, I believe it actually increases the aesthetic look by providing increased security and stability for this facility. The last piece is the 3 gates. This is the final piece. We're adding a second operator arm because we're opening that gate to allow better flow of traffic.
We're working on it now.
Yeah, oh, well, that's the one for distribution. And then this additional work is for additional operator arm at the main gate. So we can have a wider opening and have 2 arms. So we only have 1 in there. And some additional
To help with
fencing.
the swing.
this wing
This way,
and
it's just traffic.
In and out.
zone.
So you could open one and keep one closed.
We can maintain employee access and then visitor access.
Got it. Okay. All right. That sounds great.
And there's some additional fence work around the guard shack that really wasn't finalized till the end. So this is really the last piece for the fencing improvements. You'll see a subsequent budget amendment item using the remainder of the allocation in the capital bond this year. So again, it's budgeted or we have the funds. You'll see the two. The first is just a recommendation from GHD and the work allowed. This is basically through Pinto, but I think it's Fox Fence doing the work.
You're correct.
Yes, thank you.
That's good. Okay, board, you have in front of you a recommendation from our engineer GHD that has also been co-signed by our principal engineer for a change order in the amount of $73,466.92 for Pinto Construction for our flood resilience improvement project. Is there a motion to approve?
Sunderland, so moved.
Osworthy seconded.
Is the motion properly seconded? Any further questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Sunderland, aye.
Osworthy, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Unanimous. We will now move on to item number 6, which is the associated budget amendment that will be shifting these funds. This budget reallocation in the amount of $73,466.92 is recommended by our principal engineer. Is there a motion to approve?
Osworthy, so moved.
Sunderland, second.
The motion properly seconded. Hearing no questions, all in favor?
Osworthy, aye.
Sunderland, aye. Kelly, aye.
Unanimous. We'll now move into item number 7, monthly report from GHD. Ms. Walpole.
Stephen Woldvogel, GHD. Thank you, Chairman. Just a few things to mention, and then I'll turn it over to Christine and Dustin to give more detailed updates. We have, in the last month, created a Buffalo Water Board YouTube channel. So now that we can have multimedia things available for you all and for the public, you can find that through the Buffalo Water Board website or go to the Buffalo Water Wise website under media. Okay. That's new and exciting, and that will be where, Portia can put some of the videos and stuff that's already been made, but that should enhance your visibility. In addition, I won't touch much on the community outreach, but we've been doing a lot of that. And I had the pleasure and privilege of attending the Open Buffalo Eco Justice Day this past weekend, and where Open Buffalo made a presentation around lead, as well as a whole host of other activities that are happening in the city. Buffalo Wormworks was the featured kind of speaker, but got a chance to see a lot of people and interact with a lot of people from that community. And Christine is leading our community engagement, and I'll turn it over to Christine now for a few comments.
Okay, so Stephen looked at my notes. So at the end of the day, Open Buffalo has been continuing their processes with community engagement with their culminating event this past weekend, with a lot of things around community awareness for health and wellness around different items that was offered to the community from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I also had the pleasure of sitting in a space with Council Ellicott District member Leah Halton Pope, where she was working with some of the clergy within the area, clergy and other organizations, to inform them of different community events as well as inform them of community opportunities. So we look forward to engaging with them again in the future as well. Talking about our other community partner, Community Health Center of Buffalo, They are also beginning their processes around contacting residents in Buffalo to inform them about the lead testing and making sure that they look to see if they have the lead pipes. That is an ongoing process. It will be logged and monitored, and they are in the process of starting to submit some reports to us in regards to their efforts. One additional thing I'd like to add, also with community engagement with Maston District, we will be moving to work with them next month and in January to make sure that we can have some moments of conversation with the community around them, also going ahead and taking the liberty to check those pipes and follow along with our survey, which is on the Get Water Wise site. That's what I have for today, and thank you for your time, Chairman.
All right, thank you, Christine. Dustin.
Morning, board. Thank you, Chairman. Dustin Steiner, GHD. As Peter mentioned earlier, we're working to finish the gate installations and remaining fence on the flood resiliency project. We're continue to work on the electrical upgrades project with our synchronous motor starters here at Colonel Ward. And I also continue to represent you to protect our assets over in the Ralph C. Wilson Park project. That's my update for today. If anyone's got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have
Thank you.
one more thing to add. Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you.
We have also been working with a group of New York upstate cities. We have about 8 cities that will be joining us here in Buffalo on December 9th to talk about funding around lead service lines. Unfortunately, you're not the only city that's feeling the pressure. In fact, some of your contemporaries have been in the national news in the last couple of weeks for various reasons around lead, some not so positive, and none of them have enough money to really comply with the law. So we've got eight different cities that will be joining us. All the larger upstate cities will be coming here to Buffalo to talk about how we work with Albany to obtain more funding around this issue. These cities represent the truly disadvantaged communities in upstate New York, and at a federal level, that's the priority, is the money should be flowing to the disadvantaged communities as opposed to the suburban communities. So OJ is pushing and taking a leadership role in this, and we're just trying to arrange a discussion among these your contemporaries and see if we can obtain more favorable funding in the future years.
Stephen, one thing I'd like to just point out, you mentioned our contemporaries, and there have been other challenges with other municipalities, but that is not the issue here. Our numbers are fantastic. Our water quality is stable. Our orthophosphate addition is optimized. We are not in that situation at all. So just to point that out, we are in an excellent situation, in my opinion, considering the infrastructure we're managing. And if anyone ever has any questions, please direct them, get their water tested. We are on that, and that guides us. And I think that's a good guide.
Yeah, Peter, you're spot on with that. I know we've been very proactive, especially since 2016 in what we're doing. And we do encourage everybody to, if you have any, call 311. We will get your water tested. Hopefully we'll get you into a longitudinal study, as a tier 1, but that's important for us. And this is why we have that engagement with our community organizations, and, they're out with boots on the ground, and, we have our social media campaign going on, and our website, everything else that we've been pushing out. And I know we recently put out a letter that was necessary, and we've gotten an uptick in the amount of calls for having the water tested, which is great for us. So we just have to make sure that we're maintaining pace with that, make sure we're getting the kits out and being responsive to our residents and our customers. But it's really, really, really important. This is a big, huge thing that is going to have to get done when we look at getting all of our lead service lines replaced within a decade. And so, we're at we've been proactive, we've been working on it. It's going to take a lot of funds, and it's not just us in Buffalo, but it's across the board. But our proactiveness has done well for us. We have been very safe in how we pursue any changes that we do here at the facility, and we've just centered public health, and we'll continue to do that. So,
And I would echo Peter, I believe, I work with a lot of communities across the state, and I think Buffalo has been a leader in many of these areas, particularly around water quality. Your numbers are right at the top of the list in terms of water quality. And yet everyone faces the same mandate, unfortunately. Some of the news has been because of exceedances. You're nowhere near that. Your water quality is top notch. However, some other news has started to percolate just simply around the cost. And some cities are contemplating putting the cost on the homeowners because this is all private property.
Cost of replacing lead
Yeah.
lines?
Yes. And in Buffalo, you have all been proactive to date of not putting that cost on the homeowner.
So you would say that we are managing
You're managing.
that cost as efficiently and beneficially to both us and the customer. So some of the regulations may be contradictory to that best management practices that we've been doing.
Well, what happens when you find lead in a test?
So we have a process. I don't know if you want to speak to it.
Jerry, they come in, they will get a sample kit. They will be, if they have a high hit above 5 parts per billion, they will be set up.
5 parts per billion first.
Oh, yeah. And that is a third lower than the current federal regulation of 15 parts per billion. I think that has been reduced now to 10. So we are still half
This is something we established.
the action level
2016.
of the new regulation. So if it comes over that action level, they get a second test to confirm. If that's the case, they get their lead service replaced for free through our roll program. Simple. And then they will have follow-up testing to confirm that it was successful.
Funding for that.
Yeah, because
we've received American Rescue Plan funds, and we've been funding that out of our operational dollars as well as capital.
But again, that is basically, you're letting the data and the science guide you to optimize what we're doing. No matter what, 10 years, 20 years, 5 years, someone's at the end of that. If I'm at the end of whatever cycle is, I want to know it's good until then, and it is.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
How many people come in and ask for a test kit? What's typical?
We can actually get those numbers on our 311, but those have gone up since we sent out our letters notifying. They've tripled. It was.
So what does that mean? Like
311.
several a month or
Several
100 a month?
days.
Huh?
Several a day. Yeah.
Several a day.
Yeah.
If I may,
Go ahead.
yeah, since the mailing, we were required by law to notify our customers of what their service line material is. And we've received obviously a lot of attention and feedback to that. Right now, we're probably have 300 samples, up to 300 in the queue.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
2 week period.
Which we have manned up, and we are actively processing those. In addition to that, many customers have said, hey, can you help me identify my service line? Because it was unknown.
Yeah.
So ballpark, out of those 300, how many will show up with lead? I mean, just ballpark.
Well, the lines that are, the people that are inquiring about these are more than likely, they do have lead lines, whether or not they show up with.
No. He's asking.
High content.
Yeah.
Oh, high content.
David, our compliance standpoint, where are we?
Sure.
Our 90th percentile, Jerry, for this system is 3.4.
Explain what that means.
What that means is we run 100 samples every 6 months.
Okay.
From customers in this distribution system. From all of that, the average is 3.4
Oh, out of 100.
out of the 100.
3.4
We do this
percent
Parts per
parts per
billion.
billion.
The regulation is 10. Okay? So
Wait, I'm a little lost. Are we talking about people or lead or what?
The presence, the amount of lead in the water, is at 3, so our 90th percentile number is at 3.4.
4.
Yeah.
Which is
Most
good
are
or
at
bad?
zero.
Yeah, most are non-detect, most are, around lower than
Oh,
that.
3.4 versus that 10?
Versus 10, right.
I see. So it's low.
Yes, it's very low.
Oh, okay.
And we've been very proactive in making sure to keep it low.
Question for David. So that 100 sample that you do quarterly or
Every 6 months.
every 6 months, is it the same 100 people or is it different 100 people?
It is, the intent is to get the same people. However, when service lines are replaced and things of that nature, we have to kick those sites out because we're replacing them on top. We are looking for lead, worst case scenario.
Called the tier 1 site.
So our sample pool does change when lines are replaced. But we go out and get the same individuals each.
So I think I don't know if it was Jerry's question, the sample that, or the questionnaire that you put out, and you've gotten 300?
That 300 is just 311 requests.
So of that, what comes back? What's the number that comes back out of that triggers our threshold?
Well, 5 parts per million.
No, I know what that
Oh,
is.
I think.
But
we've
how
seen an
many
uptick.
is what he's-
Yeah, we've seen an uptick, but so if we were to go off of our current numbers, we'd still be in that same realm. I think you're looking for individual locations that may come back at higher.
Right, so
I don't know if we have that
300,
information yet.
is it 25 out of that 300? Is it?
Yeah, we don't have that information yet. We'd have to look at it, though. I'm sure we can get that.
But those people are triggered by, they think they've identified, they think they have a lead line. Is that what it?
Yeah, often customers are concerned when they receive the letter because they don't know. Okay, I have a lead line. They call. They say, hey, can you test my water? We do. We go out and we test their water. Buffalo Water has a program of 5 parts per million. If they have 2 out of 3 samples above that, we will replace their line.
Percentage wise, how often does that happen? Would you guess?
We've replaced 10 lines in maybe 4 or 5 years. Over 5.
So not
Because
very
we're
often.
running a very low number.
So that program, that's what we're trying to
Yes,
get
for
at.
that program, yes. And that's because, and that coincides with the 3.4, because our average in our system's 3.4.
Okay.
We're not going over 5 very often. It's only like 10
Yeah,
lines.
it comes all the way back to our.
It's an
corrosion
anomaly.
control.
It's site specific to that specific service line. Typically, it's a larger service line, maybe a couple 100 feet service line. Something's driving that number up a little bit. That is an anomaly to our system.
And let's not forget, based on empirical data, back when we met with Mr. Edwards, the lead distribution has typically been 60-40, 60% from the service, 40% from internal plumbing. So no matter what, we should always be adding a corrosion control inhibitor.
Peter, the 40% internal plumbing, is that from fixtures, the actual fixture, old fixtures that contain solder in? So no matter, even if you get the lead service line, you're never going to eradicate it altogether unless you replace all.
But a corrosion control inhibitor will continue to protect that, especially when it's utilized for continuous drinking, because it's going to be continually flowing. That's why it's a recommended benefit. And sometimes you see these numbers, you don't know if it's coming from the service or from a fixture. So we still replace it though, based on its 5 replacement service, because we're not going to ask any questions. We're going to err on the safe side, and we're still going to add corrosion control to that
So they
facility.
test again after the service line.
With testing protocol.
That way you'll know if it's the 40.
Let me add a little bit more to what Buffalo Water does. We offer first and fifth sample. So when that happens,
Never
and
been
we
done.
go out and we replace that sample line, not only are we sure that sample line's good, but we're back to take a first and fifth again. So we can tell them now, hey, your service line's clear. However, you have a fixture problem in your home. First leader saw that. So we can actually inform the customer, hey, I need to look at your fixtures. We've done all we can do here. So we have that robust
Extremely proactive
program right now running in this city.
Thank Yes.
And maybe we don't do the best job of always advertising what we do, because obviously a quick discussion, we can keep talking forever.
Yeah, we can. I mean, and that's a challenge I think we're seeing across any utilities, and we want to make sure that we are visible, that we are communicating that out into the public and engaging with our public. And so we're trying to be proactive in that space as well. But yeah, there's still more work to be done. Anything else, Ms. Wobble?
No, thank you.
All right, we will move on then to our monthly report from Veolia. Mr. Hill.
Thank you. Quick summary of Buffalo Water's affordability and customer assistance programs that occurred in October. We currently have 1,861 customers on our RAP program, RAWP. It's a program where customers can come in and apply, and if their income thresholds, it's based on income, and if they don't have the income necessary, depending upon that level, they get credits on their bill. That's one program I do think we need to continue to promote, because I think there's a lot of customers out there that could be taking advantage of this that are not. From a senior discount perspective, 4,249, that's typically the number of seniors that are constantly applying for this program. The ROLL program, it's an ongoing program where we assist customers with leaking.
Open up
lead
all the windows.
services.
We're gonna open them up.
So we're replacing about 20 to 25 a month.
Actually 29, I believe, this month, yes.
Right, but just looking at just kind of the average, 20 to 25.
Leaking lead service lines. And that's a big deal too.
So that is not part of Peter's capital plan?
No.
That's aside from that.
That's aside from that. And it's very important for that. And you ask why, from a lead perspective. Leaking lead service lines are known or suspected to create a higher level of lead for the customer. So what we've done, if a customer sees that, we'll go out and we will verify if the line's lead or whether they have insurance. And if they don't, then they are part of the ROLL program and they get that line replaced.
Does that apply to, I'll call multiple units like a condominium apartment building? If they have a leaking lead line, does that apply to them also?
This is residential.
Residential, so two or three units alone?
There's a limit too, I think. I'd have to get someone else to answer that specifically. If they're termed residential.
Right.
In our rates, they're eligible.
Most often, the larger buildings don't have lead lines.
Yeah, lead was usually small and malleable. And so like our larger buildings have ductile, or I should say ductile casts.
Promise Bay continues to deliver payment plans to customers. We've collected actually 74,000 for this month. That's a good number. New York State, the East Side program, actually contributed 124,000 this month. There's been rumors that that's dried up, but we'll continue sending applications through and seeing what happens. Really a lot of effort, just going to stop. I mean, we continued commission fluoride. We spoke about that. That's an ongoing effort and we expect to complete it by the end of the year. Doug, you have any other major items?
No, just as always, continuous work going on here at the facility. A lot of building envelope improvements with Ari Kelly and Morris Masonry. So you have an opportunity to walk around the corner, you can take a look at some of the improvements they're doing on the stone storage area. Just a lot going on the site.
I'll chime in and give Veolia some kudos because they did facilitate some 50,000 letters or whatever it was or more. I don't know how many just this past month to comply with the law. The lead program that the Water Board proactively put in place has been managed for almost 5 years now. To summarize it, I like to think it in this term. You are replacing any lead service line where you identify a threat or possibility of an elevated lead level, okay? you are focused on and prioritizing water quality in all three of your programs. When you go out and sample, if it samples high, you replace it. When Peter comes through down the street and replaces the water main and you disturb the line, you replace the full lead service line. If you find one that's leaking, as David said, there's a potential elevated lead exposure there, you replace it. So all three of your programs are focused on water quality and making sure the exposures are low. Everyone else can get a sample, again, to validate the water quality, and the sample results are showing very low lead levels. You are producing very high quality water and protecting people better than other communities.
Thanks, sir. Okay. All right, any other questions for Veolia?
Simple question, the letter that you're referring to, was that sent to customers, property owners, residents? How was that screened?
It was sent to each individual address. So
Whether it's
the
a
actual
tenant or an
resident,
owner?
right, the actual resident, whoever's residing in that property is going to receive that letter. There are multiple ways to go about this, but truthfully, even a tenant can request these test kits. They do not have to go through the homeowner to request them. So they're able to verify their own, safety of their water without having to go up through those channels.
The rule required
Which
the
is a big
letter
deal.
notify the person in the home.
There's no obstacles to it. You don't have to track down the owner
Yeah,
to make it
It
happen.
was very explicit about it. I know I was reading that up. Any further questions? All right, hearing none. Well, thank everybody. We are now moving to item number 9, which is executive session to discuss litigation matters.
Next meeting.
At this time, well, before we do that, we'll make sure that we have secured next meeting. Mr. McMahon, we have that all scheduled. We can make sure everybody knows. I have on my, my piece there, December 18th at 9 a.m. here at our Colonel Ward treatment facility.
Yep.
Does that agree with the board? Good. All right. So next meeting will be held December 18th, 9 a.m. here at our conference center in our Colonel Ward pumping treatment facility. And we look forward to seeing everyone. Now we will move into item number 9, which is an executive session to discuss litigation matters. And that will be primarily just for the board. So we thank everyone who has been with us for hybrid format. But we are going to log that off at this time. And then once we come out of that executive session where we will not be passing anything, simply for discussions and an update, we will then adjourn our meeting. So we thank everyone very much for your attendance. Thanks.
We need a motion
Sorry.
to go into.
Is there a motion to go to executive session?
Motion so moved.
Nosworthy second.
Motion properly seconded. All in favor?
Sunderland, aye.
Nosworthy, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, thanks.
Sorry, Chairman, I'm unmuted, but apparently I gotta hit *6 every time to unmute from the master.
That's all right. But you got the date, right?
Yeah, I hit you with the date, but you didn't hear me it's telling you, so I apologize.
We got it. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
All right.
have a good one. Take care. Have a good one.